plan is to send our own satellite to space. And the name of the satellite is going to be, wait for it, Smedley Sat 218. and it would be the first time that any Toastmasters club has ever sent a satellite to the space. Those days, it used to be a time where it was very hard to send a satellite to the space, where it used to cost millions and millions of dollars, and the satellites used to be humongous with a lot of equipment placed it in. But now the times have changed. This company has came up with this concept of CubeSats, where you can build a satellite at the size of a small cubicle, and you are able to program it to do what you want to do and equip it with whatever the equipment that you want to equip it with, and then put it in a vehicle, as they call it, or a rocket in our layman's terms, and then just send it to space. And the cost of this for us to send this satellite to space would be about, say, 1 to 1.5 million rupees. Compared to those, it is actually a huge drop in the price. So if you do about good 10 to 15 spacecrafts, we are able to get that money. Yeah? Toastmaster of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Every satellite needs to have an objective. The objective and the mission of our Smedley Sat is going to be to spy about all the Toastmasters meetings that are taking place in the world and analyze this using machine learning and artificial intelligence, and we are going to come up with an algorithm to be the best Toastmasters club ever, and ever will be for another 100 years time. To do this, we are going to build this mega data analytics center right here in Royal College. I'm a proud royalist, so I want it to be here. And all of you all will be quitting your jobs from next month onwards to start working as data analysts in this data center to make this vision come a reality. Who's in? Nice. Two guys in New York City. And in this particular month, they found it that they simply can't pay their rent for their apartment. And they found 3 air mattresses that was in their room, and they actually thought that they could do something with it. And then what they did was they thought, why not give these as accommodation in their living room? So they put up a site called airbedandbreakfast.com, and people started booking, and they came actually to spend the night on these air mattresses at these people's place. At that time, to spend a night at a stranger's house was actually just strange and even life-threatening. So these people, these 2 guys, they were actually able to change the industry. Their concept was simple. Their concept was, now say that you are having an empty room in your home. So why not give it to some person who needs accommodation? This was a simple concept, but it was hard to digest at that time. But they were able to change the mindset of the people and then change the industry. Started from 3 air mattresses, now they are Airbnb, if you take it now, they are a $10 billion worth company. And now you are actually able to, if you go to Paris, where you used to spend like a huge amount of money for a hotel, now you are actually able to spend a night for less than even $20 a night. Cryptocurrency, probably you all must have heard of it, and some people call it digital gold, some people call it, and then the most famous version of it is Bitcoin. And this is like a financial implication of the blockchain. For those who don't know of what blockchain is to understand blockchain, first we need to understand how our financial system works at the moment. Now say you have some sort of money, and then you are going and depositing it into a bank. So the bank has a private ledger where it sort of validates, but you have to keep your trust on this private ledger that is with the bank, that they will not steal or lose your money. So this is a centralized system. What blockchain does is, it's a decentralized system where it has a network of computers with a public ledger. So when every time a transaction happens, all of these computers in this public ledger are getting actually updated. So when a transaction is being done, you can actually verify from these tens and thousands of blocks, as they call it, whether it's a correct transaction being happened. So it's a decentralized system which is much more efficient, and the use of this blockchain is not only for the finance sector. There's much more applications that this can be used, such as verification of healthcare, verification of insurance to airlines to so many other things. I do not want to comment about this typical way of education, about this typical way of your learning. You're going to school and this set syllabuses and these college degrees and this set college degrees and all of them, where people are being set batch by batch. So I will not comment on that, simply because the language that I will be using to comment on that will not be allowed by the Toastmasters fraternity, and I will be thrown out of this room, and I don't want that to happen. Being an adamant believer in self-learning, I believe that self-learning needs to happen on your own. You're supposed to learn by your experience, by talking to people, by listening to people, through magazines, through books, based on your interest, basically. Being this self-learning believer, I got this latest addiction. My latest addiction is podcasts. Raise of hands of those who know about podcasts. Raise of hands of those who listen to podcasts on a day-to-day routine. Good. So for those who don't know what podcasts are, which the majority here is, they are just like a magazine subscription, but to your ear. They are like a TV series, but only the audio version of it. All the podcasts, if you take it, they are 100% free, and you are able to find tens and thousands of podcasts according to whatever the interest that you may be having. If you are interested in engineering, you have podcasts for that. If you are interested in business, to investments, to startups, to whatever the interest that you may have, whatever the weird fetish interest that you may have, you will be finding a podcast for that. Now, listening to this podcast, it actually changed my life. To tell you, this idea of building our own smelly satellite and sending to space, how I got it was from this podcast was called Planet Earth. Planet Money. So this Planet Money, it's a podcast about economy, where they talk about current trends, the past trends, the latest trends, and then all the trends about economy in a very fun way. Now, this actually, what they are doing in this particular episode of Planet Money is that, being a podcast company, they are building their own cube satellite, and then they are sending it to the space, being the first podcast company to send a satellite to the space. When I thought, hey, why not us being Smedley send our own satellite to space? The second story I brought to you about Airbnb, it's from this podcast called How I Built This. It's a podcast that dives deep into the stories where how the people build these great companies in this world, like LinkedIn to Facebook to WhatsApp to, and all the stories behind these entrepreneurs and the struggles that they have gone through. The third one, the information I gave you about the blockchain, it's from this podcast called Moonshot, where they talk about making the impossible possible. Those days, when I used to drive, I used to absolutely hate traffic. But now I love traffic. Simply because I have my podcast with me, playing all the time, bombarding my head with so much of information that I want to know, sometimes I don't want to even know, but then it's bombarding my head with, and then the amount of knowledge that it actually gives me is absolutely brilliant and absolutely priceless. The amount of paradigms that it takes my mind to ponder upon is just endless. Raise of hands of those who listen to music or radio while driving or while taking the public transport. Good. Because from today onwards, you're going to stop listening to music, you're going to stop listening to radio, and you are going to start listening to podcasts. I mean, what you learn from music and this radio anyways. This says, I will start listening to podcasts from today. Gomi, can you please help help me to distribute this to all the Smedlians here, where they are going to look at this and then they are going to stop listening to music and then start listening to podcasts from today onwards. And then this has some suggestions for the beginners to start ahead with if you are going ahead with podcasts. Start listening to podcasts. Stop listening to bull. You know what it is. Change your life. Quit your jobs from next month onwards to work at Smedley 218 project. Podcast, change your life. Toastmaster Elmo, over to you.